Ladies and gentlemen, today I am not here to inspire you with just words. I am here to shake you, to wake you up, to make you realize that fear is stealing your life. How many of you have dreams you've buried because of fear? How many of you are waiting for the right time to take action? Let me tell you something, there is no right time. There is only now. Fear is the biggest liar you will ever meet. It whispers, you're not ready. You're not good enough. You will fail. But I am here to tell you that voice is wrong. Today you will stop being afraid. Today you will take action. Not tomorrow, not next weekend, Odo. Are you ready? Because this is your moment. Fear is a powerful emotion, but what if I told you that most of the fear you feel isn't real? It's not a monster standing in front of you, ready to attack. It's not a storm that's about to sweep you away. It's not something tangible. Fear exists in the mind. It is nothing more than a thought. A story you tell yourself over and over again until you believe it. But here's the truth, fear is not reality. It's an illusion. It's a choice you make, often without even realizing it. Think about the things you fear the most. Maybe it's failure. Maybe it's rejection. Maybe it's the unknown. But where did these fears come from? Were you born afraid? No, you learned fear. You absorbed it from the world around you. From the people who told you to be careful. From the times you tried and didn't succeed. From the voices that said, what if you fail? Instead of what if you succeed? Imagine a child learning to walk. That child falls over and over again. But do they stop trying? No. They don't sit there and say, maybe walking isn't for me. They get up again and again, without any fear of failure. Why? Because they haven't learned to be afraid yet. They haven't been conditioned to believe that failure is something to be ashamed of. They only know one thing, keep moving forward. But as we grow older, we start letting fear dictate our decisions. We hesitate. We overthink. We play it safe. We convince ourselves that staying where we are is better than risking failure. And that is how fear wins, not because it's real, not because it's stronger than us, but because we allow it to control our choices. Think about how many dreams have been buried because of fear. How many ideas never saw the light of day because someone was too afraid to take the first step. How many talents have been wasted because someone convinced themselves they weren't good enough. It's heartbreaking to realize that fear doesn't just steal moments, it steals entire lives. People go to their graves with regrets, not because they failed, but because they never even tried. But here's something you need to understand, fear will never go away. No matter how successful you become, no matter how much you grow, fear will always be there. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. Successful people feel the fear but act anyway. They refuse to let it stop them. They see fear for what it truly is, a test, a challenge, a choice. Fear is like a wall standing between you and your dreams. But what if I told you that the wall isn't solid? What if I told you it's made of paper? From a distance, it looks impenetrable. It looks like a massive, unbreakable barrier. But the moment you take a step forward, the moment you push through, you realize that it was never real to begin with. The wall crumbles. The illusion disappears. And suddenly you are free. But what happens when you let fear win? When you let it control you, you stay stuck. You stay small. You watch opportunities pass you by, telling yourself maybe next time. But next time never comes. Because fear is never satisfied. It doesn't just stop at one thing, it grows. The more you feed it, the stronger it becomes. The more you listen to it, the more control it has over you. People often say, I'll take action when I feel ready. But let me tell you a secret, you will never feel ready. If you wait for the fear to disappear, you will be waiting for the rest of your life. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's standing up, taking that step, even when your hands are shaking and your heart is pounding. Look at the people who inspire you. The leaders, the innovators, the dreamers. Do you think they were fearless? No, they were just like you. They had doubts. They had moments where they wanted to quit. But they made a choice to push through despite the fear. Fear is not your enemy. It is a signal. It tells you that you're about to step into something bigger than yourself. It tells you that you're about to grow. The things that scare you the most are often the things that will transform you the most. So the next time fear whispers in your ear, telling you to back down, telling you that you're not good enough, telling you that you'll fail, don't listen. Because fear is a liar. It has been lying to you your whole life. And the moment you stop believing it, the moment you decide to move forward despite it, is the moment you take your power back. Fear will always be there, but you get to decide whether it controls you or you control it. Fear thrives on hesitation. The moment you stop to question yourself, fear starts whispering louder. It plants seeds of doubt, making you believe that you are not ready, that you need more time, that you should wait for the perfect moment. But let me tell you something, the perfect moment does not exist. It never has, and it never will. If you are waiting for the stars to align, for the fear to disappear, for the right circumstances to appear out of nowhere, you will be waiting for the rest of your life. Think about all the times you hesitated, the moments where your heart told you to take a step forward, but your mind held you back. Maybe you wanted to speak up in a meeting but stayed silent. Maybe you had an idea that could change everything, but you convinced yourself it wasn't good enough. Maybe you had a dream, a vision, a passion, but instead of chasing it, you let hesitation creep in. And what happened? The moment passed. The opportunity slipped away, and you were left with nothing but regret. Hesitation is the silent killer of dreams. It doesn't come with loud warnings or flashing lights. It sneaks in quietly, disguising itself as logic, as caution, as practicality. It makes you believe that waiting is the smarter choice, that holding back is the responsible thing to do. But in reality, hesitation is just another form of fear. It's fear wearing a mask, pretending to be reason, when in truth, it is robbing you of the life you are meant to live. The most dangerous thing about hesitation is that it becomes a habit. The more you hesitate, the easier it becomes. You start second-guessing everything. You start questioning your own instincts, your own anxieties. And before you know it, hesitation is no longer just a momentary pause, it becomes your default setting. You become the person who watches from the sidelines, who sees opportunities but never takes them, who dreams big but acts small. But let me ask you this, what if you didn't hesitate? What if instead of stopping to question yourself, you simply acted? What if instead of listening to fear, you listen to that voice inside you that knows you are capable of more? The voice that tells you to go for it, to take the risk, to step forward even when you are afraid. Then think about the people you admire. The leaders, the game changers, the ones who make a difference in the world. Do you think they hesitated? No, they felt the fear, but they acted anyway. They understood that hesitation is just wasted time, that the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to move forward. They knew that the only way to get anywhere in life is to take action, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's terrifying. The truth is, you will never have all the answers. You will never have absolute certainty. There will always be risks, always be unknowns, always be reasons to hesitate. But if you let those reasons stop you, you will never get anywhere. Life is not about waiting for guarantees. It's about having the courage to take the leap, even when you don't know what's on the other side. Every time you hesitate, you give fear more power. You let it tighten its grip on you, making it harder and harder to break free. But every time you take action, you weaken fear's hold. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your doubts, that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. You don't need more time. You don't need more preparation. You don't need to wait for the fear to go away. You just need to decide that you are done letting hesitation control you. You need to decide that your dreams, your goals, your happiness are more important than your fear. Because the truth is they are. The next time you feel yourself hesitating, take a deep breath and move forward anyway. Don't overthink it. Don't let fear talk you out of it. Just take the step. Do the thing. Say yes. Because in the end, hesitation will never protect you. It will never make you stronger. It will only hold you back from the life you were meant to live. Fear thrives in the comfort zone. It loves when you stay in familiar places, doing the same things day after day, never challenging yourself, never pushing beyond what feels safe. The comfort zone is a trap, disguised as security. It makes you believe that staying where you are is the right choice, that avoiding risks is the smart way to live. But what if I told you that everything you have ever wanted, everything you dream of, everything you are capable of becoming is just beyond the walls of your comfort zone? When you were a child, you weren't afraid to explore. You touched, you tasted, you tried new things without hesitation. You fell down and got back up without thinking twice. But as you grew older, something changed. Society taught you to be careful, to be practical, to play it safe. You started believing that failure was something to fear, that mistakes were something to avoid, that taking risks was dangerous. And slowly, your comfort zone became smaller and smaller. Think about a caged bird. If you keep it in the cage long enough, even when you open the door, it won't fly out. Not because it can't, but because it has become so used to the cage that it no longer believes in the freedom beyond it. This is what happens when you stay in your comfort zone for too long. You start believing that the cage is all there is, that this is just how life is meant to be, that dreaming big is unrealistic, that pushing yourself is unnecessary, that growth is too painful. But deep down, you know that's not true. Deep down, you know that you were meant for more. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It keeps you stuck in routines that don't serve you. It makes you choose ease over growth. It makes you settle for less than you deserve. And the worst part, it tricks you into believing that you're okay with it, that staying where you are is good enough. But tell me, is good enough really what you want? Do you really want to wake up years from now and realize that you never reached your full potential because you were too afraid to step outside your comfort zone? Every successful person you admire had to break free from their comfort zone. They had to take risks, face uncertainty, step into the unknown. They didn't get to where they are by playing it safe. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They acted before they were ready. They embraced discomfort. They understood that growth only happens when you are willing to challenge yourself. Discomfort is the birthplace of transformation. The moment you step outside your comfort zone, something incredible happens. You start discovering strengths you never knew you had. You start realizing that fear was just an illusion. You start seeing possibilities that were invisible before. Growth is uncomfortable. It's messy. It's scary. But it's also necessary. Every time you push yourself beyond what feels safe, you expand your limits. You become stronger, wiser, more confident. You prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. Think about the first time you tried something new. Maybe it was learning a skill, speaking in public, starting a new job. At first it felt uncomfortable. You doubted yourself, you felt nervous, maybe even terrified. But the more you did it, the more comfortable you became. The fear faded. The skill improved. The confidence grew. And suddenly what once seemed impossible became second nature. That is the power of stepping outside your comfort zone. Your comfort zone is not a safe place. It is a prison. A prison built by fear, by self-doubt, by limiting beliefs. And the only way to escape it is to take action. To do the things that scare you. To challenge yourself every single day. Growth doesn't happen in ease. It happens in struggle. In pushing through fear. In proving to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. Fear will tell you to stay where you are. It will whisper that you're not ready, that you're not good enough, that you should wait. But fear is a liar. The truth is you are ready now. You are capable now. You don't need more time. You don't need more preparation. You just need to take the first step. Because once you do, you will realize that the comfort zone was never really safe. It was just holding you back from the life you were meant to live. Failure is not the end. It is not a sign to stop, nor is it proof that you are incapable. Failure is a lesson, a stepping stone, a necessary part of growth. The problem is that we have been conditioned to see failure as something shameful, something to be avoided at all costs. From a young age, we are taught that mistakes are bad, that success is the only acceptable outcome, that perfection is the goal. But perfection is a myth, and success is built on a foundation of failures. Every great achievement in history was born from setbacks, from struggles, from moments when giving up seemed like the easiest option. Think about the people who have changed the world, the inventors, the leaders, the pioneers. They did not wake up one day and suddenly succeed. They failed over and over again. Thomas Edison, the man who gave us the light bulb, failed thousands of times before he found the right solution. Imagine if he had stopped after the first failure, or the 10th, or the 100th. Imagine if he had said, maybe this isn't for me, and walked away. The world would have been a much darker place, literally. But he understood something most people don't. Failure is not an obstacle, it is a teacher. Every failure carries a lesson. It reveals what doesn't work so you can get closer to what does. It forces you to grow, to adapt, to become better. It pushes you beyond your limits, showing you that you are capable of more than you thought. The only true failure is refusing to try at all. The only real defeat is walking away because things didn't go as planned. The moment you stop seeing failure as the end and start seeing it as a beginning, everything changes. Fear of failure keeps so many people stuck in place. It stops them from taking risks, from chasing their dreams, from stepping outside their comfort zones. They are so afraid of getting it wrong that they choose to do nothing at all. But doing nothing is the worst failure of all. It is the silent destruction of potential, the slow erosion of dreams. Regret is far heavier than failure ever will be. Think about a child learning to walk. They fall hundreds of times. They stumble, they trip, they crash to the ground. But never once do they say, maybe walking isn't for me. Never once do they decide to give up. They keep going step after step, fall after fall, until one day they are running. This is how we are meant to live. to keep moving, to keep trying, to embrace failure as a necessary part of learning. Somewhere along the way, we forget this. We start believing that failure is something to be ashamed of, that it defines us, that it means we are not good enough. But that is a lie. Failure does not define you. What defines you is what you do after you fail. Do you let it break you, or do you let it build you? Do you use it as an excuse to stop, or do you use it as fuel to keep going? Every person you admire has faced failure. The difference between them and those who never succeed is that they refuse to let failure stop them. They kept going, they learned, they adapted, they grew. Your failures are proof that you are trying. They are evidence that you are pushing yourself, that you are stepping outside your comfort zone, that you are chasing something greater. And that is something to be proud of. The people who never fail are the ones who never try. They stay in their safe little worlds, avoiding risks, avoiding challenges, avoiding the possibility of falling short. But in doing so, they also avoid growth, success, and everything that makes life meaningful. The most successful people in the world fail more than anyone else. The difference is they don't let failure define them. They use it to their advantage. They take the lessons, adjust their approach, and try again. This is the mindset you must adopt if you want to achieve anything significant in life. You must stop fearing failure and start embracing it. You must stop seeing it as the end and start seeing it as the beginning. Most people are one failure away from giving up, but what they don't realize is that they are also one step away from success. The path to success is not a straight line. It is filled with detours, setbacks, wrong turns. But every single failure is moving you closer to where you need to be. The only way to truly fail is to stop walking. The only way to be defeated is to refuse to rise after falling. Imagine what would happen if you stopped fearing failure. Imagine how much you could achieve if you embraced it instead of avoiding it. Imagine the risks you would take, the dreams you would chase, the person you would become. The truth is, failure is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher, your most powerful motivator, your path to success. You do not need to be afraid of it. You only need to learn from it and keep going. Fear is the greatest barrier between you and the life you dream of. It is the silent thief of ambition, the invisible force that keeps you trapped in a cycle of hesitation. Fear whispers that you are not good enough, that you will fail, that you are not ready. And too often we listen. We let fear dictate our choices, our actions, our futures. But fear is nothing more than a story we tell ourselves, a story that can be rewritten the moment we decide to take control. Imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down into the unknown. Your heart races, your palms sweat, and your mind floods with every possible worst-case scenario. What if you fall? What if you fail? What if you make a mistake? These thoughts grip you, paralyze you, hold you back from taking the leap. But what if, instead of focusing on what could go wrong, you asked yourself a different question? What if you fly? What if this leap is exactly what you need to unlock the life you have been dreaming of? What if on the other side of fear lies everything you have ever wanted? Fear is powerful because it feeds on uncertainty. It thrives in the unknown, growing stronger when you hesitate. But fear is also an illusion. It is not real in the way that danger is real. Danger is tangible. It is a physical threat that requires immediate response. Fear, on the other hand, is often a mental construct. It is a prediction of what might happen, a projection of your worst insecurities. Most of the time, the things we fear never even happen. We spend so much time worrying about failure, rejection, and embarrassment that we never stop to question whether these fears are even justified. Think about all the opportunities you have missed because of fear. The times you wanted to speak up but stayed silent. The chances you had to chase your dreams but convinced yourself you weren't ready. The moments where you could have taken action but chose to wait, to overthink, to let the moment pass you by. Now ask yourself, was the fear worth it? Did it protect you, or did it only keep you from living the life you deserve? Fear does not disappear on its own. You cannot wait for the day when you no longer feel afraid before taking action, because that day will never come. The truth is, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is taking action despite the fear. It is stepping forward even when your legs are shaking. It is making the choice to move forward even when everything inside you is screaming to turn back. Every great achievement in history was made by someone who felt fear but refused to be controlled by it. They were scared, but they did it anyway. Think about the moments in your life when you overcame fear. Maybe it was the first time you stood in front of a crowd to speak. Maybe it was the moment you decided to take a risk on something new. Maybe it was the day you finally stood up for yourself. Whatever it was, remember how powerful you felt afterward. The fear was real, but so was your ability to push through it. You prove to yourself that fear does not define you. Fear loses its power the moment you face it. The longer you run from it, the stronger it becomes. But the second you stand your ground, look it in the eye, and take action anyway, you strip it of its control. You realize that fear was never as big as it seemed, that it was only as strong as you allowed it to be. Every time you push past fear, you grow. You become stronger, braver, more resilient. And soon, what once seemed terrifying becomes just another challenge you know you can overcome. Fear is nothing compared to regret. The pain of fear is temporary, it lasts for a moment, for an hour, for a day. But the pain of regret lingers forever. The what-ifs haunt you. The knowledge that you let fear stop you from chasing your dreams stays with you. The feeling that you could have done more, been more, lived more, but chose not to, it is a burden heavier than any fear you could ever face. So, what are you afraid of? What is stopping you from taking the next step? Is it the fear of failure? The fear of judgment? The fear of stepping outside your comfort zone? Whatever it is, recognize that it is only an illusion. It is not real in the way your dreams are real, in the way your potential is real, in the way your ability to change your life is real. Fear is only a shadow, and shadows disappear the moment you shine light on them. The only way to overcome fear is to act. Take the first step, even if it is small. Speak up, even if your voice shakes. Move forward, even if your heart pounds in your chest. The more you do this, the more you realize that fear does not control you, you control fear. You can shrink it, push it aside, refuse to let it dictate your choices. You have the power to change the story, to rewrite the narrative, to turn fear from an obstacle into a stepping stone. Your future is waiting on the other side of fear. The life you want, the dreams you have, the success you crave, it is all there, just beyond the barrier of hesitation. You are not weak for feeling afraid. You are human. But you are also capable of incredible strength, of immense courage, of pushing past every limitation that fear tries to impose on you. Fear is a test, and every time you face it, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than you ever believed. Fear is not just an emotion, it is a state of mind that holds us back from stepping into our greatness. It keeps us trapped in cycles of hesitation, making excuses, waiting for the right time, when in reality, the right time never arrives, unless we create it ourselves. Fear convinces us that we are not ready, not strong enough, not talented enough, and so we sit on the sidelines of life, watching opportunities pass us by. But the truth is, we are capable of more than we believe. The moment we stop letting fear dictate our actions, we start reclaiming control over our destiny. Many of us live with a constant internal battle between what we want to achieve and the fears that hold us back. We want to speak up, but we are afraid of judgment. We want to take risks, but we are afraid of failure. We want to pursue our dreams, but we are afraid of stepping out of our comfort zones. And so we convince ourselves that it is safer to stay where we are, even if where we are is not where we truly want to be. The irony is that while we fear failure, the real failure is never trying at all. Every time we let fear win, we lose an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become something greater than we were yesterday. Think about the moments in your life when you let fear stop you. Maybe it was a time when you had an idea but were too afraid to share it. Maybe it was a moment when you wanted to take a leap of faith but convinced yourself you weren't ready. Maybe it was an opportunity that came your way but you hesitated and it slipped through your fingers. Now, imagine how different your life would be if you had just said yes. If you had taken the risk, spoken up, pushed past the fear, where would you be today? Fear thrives on hesitation. The longer you wait, the stronger it becomes. The more you analyze, the more reasons you find to stay where you are. But action is the antidote to fear. The moment you take the first step, fear starts to lose its grip. It no longer controls you because you have proven to yourself that you are capable of moving forward despite it. And with each step, confidence replaces doubt, courage replaces hesitation, and fear fades into the background. The biggest misconception about fear is that it will go away if we wait long enough. We think that someday we will wake up and suddenly feel ready. But that day never comes. Fear does not disappear, we simply get stronger than it. The more we face our fears, the less power they have over us. The more we push past them, the easier it becomes to do it again. Fear only controls those who allow it to. The moment we decide that we are in charge of our own lives, fear loses its ability to hold us back. There will always be uncertainty in life. We cannot predict the future, and that uncertainty can be terrifying. But if we let the fear of the unknown stop us, we will never know what is possible. Every successful person you admire has faced fear. Every leader, every innovator, every trailblazer has stood at the edge of uncertainty and had to make a choice, give in to fear or move forward despite it. And the ones who achieved greatness were not the ones who never felt fear, they were the ones who refused to let it stop them. Fear is not a sign that we should stop. It is a sign that we are about to do something important. The things that scare us the most are often the things that have the greatest potential to change our lives. When we feel fear, it means we are stepping into the unknown, pushing our limits, challenging ourselves to grow. And growth is never comfortable. It is uncomfortable by design because it requires us to step into new territory, to develop new skills, to become a version of ourselves that we have never been before. Think of the people who have accomplished incredible things. Do you think they were fearless? No, they felt the same fear, the same doubt, the same uncertainty, but they did it anyway. They chose action over hesitation, growth over comfort, courage over fear. They knew that staying where they were was not an option if they wanted to reach their full potential. And so they moved forward, even when it was difficult, even when it was scary, even when they were unsure of the outcome. Fear does not protect us, it limits us. It convinces us to settle for less than we are capable of. It tells us to play small when we were meant to do big things. It makes us believe that failure is the worst thing that can happen, when in reality, the worst thing that can happen is never trying at all. Every dream left unfulfilled, every goal abandoned, every opportunity ignored because of fear, that is the real tragedy. Because at the end of our lives, we will not regret the things we tried and failed at. We will regret the things we never dared to do. Fear only has the power we give it. The moment we decide that we are in control, everything changes. The moment we stop waiting for fear to disappear and start acting despite it, we take back our power. We become unstoppable. Because the truth is, everything you have ever wanted is on the other side of fear. And the only thing standing between you and the life you dream of is the decision to take action.